Dhamma talk on Binara Full Moon Day 2022. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Nirajasa Sunantu Saggamukhadang Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Phena pindupamang rupang vedana bubbulupama marichikupama sanya sankhara kadalupama mayupamancha viññānaṁ dīpitādicca bandhuna. Good morning, everyone. Today is the Binara full moon day. It is especially a important day for the Buddhist females. 2000 years ago, in India, the women did not have much greater status in the family or in the society. It was a male-dominated society. Sometimes you see, even until last few years, in the advanced or developed countries like in the West, women was not regarded as that important part of the society, and they were as weakling. I remember recently when we were growing up in some countries, even the females didn't get the same salary that a male person would get for the same service or same job. But in the Asian culture, female was always respected as who bring the children to the world and who take care of the children and raise the children. And at some point, parents were happy or happier if they have a male child than having a female child. Today, that thinking may be disappeared in some cultures, but in some cultures, still, this type of attitude seems to exist. At a time like this, when Buddha became enlightened, there were many male followers who were able to become monks and practice meditation seriously and follow the Dhamma seriously and attain the higher consciousness, like becoming Sotapanna or Sakadagami or Anagami or Arahant, and become enlightened. There were a large number of Buddha's disciples who are females also used to practice hard as householders, but they didn't have the opportunity to enter the order and practice as monks and nuns. Entering the order is a very special opportunity for anyone becoming a monk or nun, because they spend their full time for learning and practicing the Dhamma as monks and nuns. So the opportunity to achieve greater results for monks and nuns were much higher. It is like becoming a full-time student or a part-time student who is partially work and partially study. That the people who spend full time for studies reach their educational goals much faster and fulfill their goals, achieve their goals. On a Binara full moon day during the time of the Buddha, for the first time, females were allowed to enter the Buddhist order and receive ordination and become nuns. Prajapati Gautami, who was the stepmother of the Buddha, who raised the Buddha from the day 7 from his birth, she was determined to enter the order, and she worked harder with a large number of females to receive the ordination from the Buddha and get the permission. In that society, the conditions were not totally ready for female to hold such a status. Buddha even had to consider the social status and try to postpone the female ordination. But finally, on Binara full moon day, like today, actual full moon day was yesterday, but full moon is still continuing until this morning. And so we are very fortunate that the female order, Buddhist order, as bhikkhunis, started with the permission of the Buddha, and that continued to this day. In Theravada tradition, at some point, bhikkhuni order was discontinued due to causes and conditions, but we are glad that it is renewed. Now there are bhikkhunis in Sri Lanka and Thailand and Buddhist countries, other Buddhist countries. But Mahayana tradition, bhikkhuni order was continued from the beginning. And even today, Venerable Shanta, who is the resident monk of this temple, had to attend a ceremony at the Bhikkhuni's temple near Sacramento to participate in the higher ordination ceremony. And that is why he was not here for the morning Dhamma talk and guiding with 8 precepts and 10 precepts. Today, Dhamma talk, I thought of talking about something simple, but also very deep at the same time. The topic I recited earlier, the sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya called Pena Pindupama Sutta, simile of the lump of form in the sense that the form that you see in the river, form that you see when you are cooking some soup or something like that. You see the forms coming up. And one morning, Buddha was visiting an area called Ayodhya or something in India. He was sitting near the Ganges River on the bank with the monks. Sometimes Buddha initiates the talk by himself when he has something important in his mind to teach the disciples. He initiates the teaching. Sometimes people ask the questions and then the Buddha answer. That become part of the Dhamma that in the sutta. When the Buddha is staying in Jethas Grove Monastery or any other Pubbarama monastery or any other monastery, in the evening, Buddha give Dhamma talks and people learn from those regular sessions. Sometimes Buddha visit the group of people and ask them what they are discussing about. And the disciples informed the Buddha they were talking before he attended the meeting. Before the Buddha attended the meeting, we were discussing about this subject. And at a time like this, Buddha had the habit of explaining or talking more than what they knew about that topic. In this case, he was looking at the river and he saw a lot of forms going by the river. When those forms may be thick and they pass with the water in the river that has even collected a lot of dust and other things. And those forms were going by, and Buddha came up with some Dhamma, wisdom, that he thought might be helpful to the followers. So he decided to talk to the venerable monks. At that point, about the nature of a life of a person or being. If you say person, that excludes all animals and all other sentient beings. But if you mention the word being includes all sentient beings with the body and the mind. Normally, people like us have a body and the mind. And also, when you use the word rupa in Buddhism, it's a form. When you see anything in front of you as an object, you see it as a form. If I can see something, that is a form. Rupa. If ear can grasp something, it's a sound form. So it's a form, but not as a form that you see through your eye, with your eye. But all these are forms. That is something that your eye can perceive, ear can perceive, nose can perceive, and so on. So normally, when you see say the word rupa, it's a form. Our body itself is a form. Every person has a body. I can see my body. I can see my face in front of the mirror. I can see my family and friends. They have a body. That is a form. If I see a computer, that is a form. If I see a door in front of in this room, that is a form. So whatever form is a form. For some reason, I can see the form that is consist of thousands of air bubbles is called form. It looks like a thing. When you see a huge form passing by in the water, you see something is passing by. But in this case, it is a form. So what the Buddha was talking about in this sutta is the main things that a being is composed of, main parts. A being like you and me, or your dog, or your cat, or any other animal in the yard, they have a mind and they have a body. Body is the form. Any form is a combination of many things. If you look at your own body, many parts and particles, and large parts and small parts. When it is properly put together, you can call it a form, a person, or rupa, form, body, or this microphone is a form, this computer is a form, and they are also composed of many things. And that is a form. Any form that you perceive in this world, Buddha thought, it is so unsubstantial. Like a foam, that like a lump of foam that is passing by in the river, lump of foam that is generated in your pot when you are cooking something. So Buddha thought, it is good for these people to understand the actual nature of the body and mind. Form, body or the form. Both the kaya is the specific word for the body. But the kaya, the body, it is also a form that you can perceive through your eye. Buddha mentioned in this sutta, one time he mentioned it in the sutta like this: a large lump of foam could be carried along by this Ganges river. A person with eyesight could see it, consider it, examine it. By seeing it, considering it, and examining it, that person could determine that it was insubstantial. If you touch the form, immediately disappear. There's no substance in the form, nothing that you can rely on. All are insubstantial, hollow, nothing inside. Void. Void means Buddhist word is shunya, sunya. In Sinhalese, we call it his, nothing in there. Shunya means empty. Okay. So it is actually empty. When you look at the form that is passing by in the river, there's nothing substantial. Nothing to take seriously. Nothing that you can use for anything good. Because it is empty inside. Sometimes the form could be large, sometimes the form could be small. But even the large form is useless, nothing inside, hollow, empty, and so on. Monks, exactly the same way, a monk sees, considers, and examines any physical form, not only the form that is passing in the river, but any physical form, not something that you see at this moment, even something you perceived yesterday, or any form that you will be perceiving in the future, whether past, present, or the future, internal or external, coarse or subtle. Coarse means touchable, like this table, like these things that you see. Subtle, like a piece of paper or something, or leaf, subtle. Coarse or subtle, sometimes expensive, sometimes cheap. Sometimes those forms are far away, sometimes those forms are nearby. The wise person examine in this whole universe, in the past, present, or the future. Wise person can see even those things that we take seriously actually is empty, insubstantial, hollow, essential, essenceless, no essence in there. Buddha asked monks, look at these forms wisely. We can see this house, but ultimately it's something useless. But we take it seriously. My house, my computer, my watch, my clock, even my children. Those are all forms. Insubstantial, hollow, useless, empty, ultimately. If you can see that, you are seeing the forms correctly in the world. What happened to your mind when you see something useless? You have no love for it. You have no attachment for it. You have no any desire to hold on to something useless. And that is called wisely looking at forms in this world. This is something that we don't see in ordinary mind. Ordinary mind, we are trained to take things seriously. And we call it my computer, my house, my car. But if you see the essencelessness, emptiness of all these things, that can be seen only by the eye of wisdom. Only a wise person can see the things, and they don't hold on to these things as me. This is me. This is mine. So on. So you taking it too seriously because we are looking at those things with ordinary mind, not the mind of insight, wisdom. Because of these things, this attachment to things, we fight for things that we think is ours. We hold on to things. We try to accumulate more and more things, thinking that this is very useful and helpful and essential. But actually, none of these things are essential. You can see, even in the end of life, this what you can see, your most precious thing is your own body will become useless. And only the value that we attribute to it. Sometimes we have the technology to harden the form. You can use the large piece of foam to use like a wood and put it on the wall and things like that. But actually it is a form which was to pieces. That is the form that we see. So it's essenceless. It's nothing substantial. Maybe temporarily you use it for some things, some benefits, but useless. But only the wise people can see. So the point is, it's not that they are not substantial or empty, but there is nothing to take seriously as me and mine and part of me or some things like that. That is the most important part of this Buddha's point. If you take them seriously and hold on to it, that leads to a lot of complications, including fighting and being, if you lose something, your computer, you think it's my computer and somebody took it away and I'm sad now. All these, then you find out who the person who stole your computer, and then you get mad at that person and you want to fight with that person, or you want to punish that person. Maybe you want to kill that person if he did something harm to you, like that. So this is the form. So there is no any rupa in this world that you can perceive through your eye that is substantial, just like this lump of foam that is passing in the river. That's what the Buddha told the Venerable monks. And then he added something for them to think. Vedana. Besides the form, I have sensation and I have feeling. My friend have feeling. My mother has feelings. So we sense things, cold, heat, and all type of things that we sense. But what happened? They are nothing substantial. They come and go. I'll read the sutra. Monks, in the autumn, large raindrops are falling on the water. A water bubble might rise and vanish. They are all sensations and feelings are like bubbles. Bubble is something that appears momentarily and disappears. All my feelings, all my sensations always rise and pass away. A person with eyesight could see it, consider it, and examine it. By seeing it, considering it, and examining it, that person could determine that it was insubstantial, hollow, essenceless. You look at the bubble, nice bubble, small bubble, big bubbles, but is there anything valuable? No. Anything to take seriously? No. They see it as insubstantial, essenceless, and empty. Monks, what essence could there be in a water bubble? Look at the water bubble when it is raining. You see bubbles, water bubbles everywhere. And they come, they appear and disappear, appear and disappear. That's exactly all my feelings and your feelings and his feelings and her feelings. All the feelings come and go, come and go, come and go like these bubbles. But children, when they make bubbles with soap, and they really enjoy playing with them, thinking that is very real to the children. But for the wise people, these bubbles are nothing, nothing to take seriously. What about all the feelings and sensations that arise in our mind? Constantly arise, constantly pass away. And there is nothing to take seriously. And you can see that whatever the bubbles that arose in the past, or arose in the future, arose in the present, anywhere nearby or far away, doesn't matter. Those are bubbles, arise and pass away, and all feelings. Arise and pass. That moment, when you're angry, when you're depressed, when you're sad, when you're excited, you go to the party and a few minutes you become excited, and then all of a sudden some juice fall on your new shirt, and immediately that excitement is gone. It's a matter of seconds. So our feelings constantly change, and there's nothing substantial, nothing to take seriously. So Buddha says, if you look at your feelings wisely with the eye of wisdom, then your life don't become a roller coaster, up and down all the time. And then our mind is made of feelings and perceptions. We perceive constantly through your eye and through your nose and through your ear, through your tongue, you perceive different things. Through the eye, you perceive forms. Through the ear, you perceive sounds. Through nose, you perceive smells. Through your mouth or tongue, you perceive taste. And from the skin, you feel the comfort and softness and hardness and all that. They're all momentary. Buddha says, by seeing it, considering it, and examining it, that person could determine that it was insubstantial, hollow, essenceless. Hollow means the empty, essenceless. Monks, what essence could there be in a water bubble? If your feelings and sensations and all these things are just like, the perceptions in this case, if your perceptions are constantly changing like water bubbles, appear and disappear, what is there for you to grasp? What is there for you to hold on to? Nothing. All your perceptions are useless, empty. and insubstantial. And then other part of the, now we mentioned about sensation, we mentioned about perception, which is sanya. Sensation is called vedana. Now Buddha mentioned about sankhara. Sankhara means formation of the mind. You are passing by on the road and you see a half of the roof. You see a few windows and doors, and maybe front wall and the side wall. But in your mind, you put together the whole house. That includes the back of the house that you have no idea, because you are seeing only the front wall and front door and front part of the wall, front part of the roof and things like that. But in your mind, you assemble, and kitchen and bedrooms and all these things are in your formation of the house, although you see only few. We saw a person, and you see the person's beard, and we look at the clothings and not very well dressed, and you immediately form a picture of this person in your mind. That's called sankhara. You edited the information and you think that this might be a criminal. But actually what you saw was a very good person who is practicing Dharma. But in your mind, you create a picture of a criminal. All what you saw, certain things, you added different things and you designed the whole person in your mind. That designing and forming, so sankhara is called, this is a very important word. It is a combination of some ideas that you put together in your mind. All our karmas are sankhara, because you created you pick up the flowers and come in front of the Buddha image, and you see that Buddha image is the Buddha in your mind. All what you see is the clay image or the metal image in the form of the Buddha. You think it's a Buddha, and you offer to the Buddha, and you think, I offer flowers to the Buddha. That's all mental formation. So sankhara means mental formation. So we constantly we assembled in our mind different things that you actually perceive, and add some other things from your own mind, and you see some important thing. You saw a temple, you saw a family, you see a wedding, and whatever you see, all these are mentally. So everybody is well dressed, and then there's a lot of things in food and other items, and then you say it is a party. And now it is a party, you get excited, you get involved, and constantly we generate more and more mental formation, and they are constantly changing. Monks, the person who need hardwood, heartwood, go to the forest. Who is searching for hardwood might take a sharp axe. Look, they take a big, strong, sharp axe and go to the forest. And in the forest, there is a banana tree which is very nicely growing, big and beautiful and tall. Elia in Sinhalese, but you cut it, nothing there. You cut the bottom of the tree, and it cuts so easily, and you see it is made of many different layers. You have seen a banana tree, I think. If you see a Kadalupama, Sankhara Kadalupama. Kadalu means banana tree. Banana tree is made of different layers, like your cabbage. You see a big, huge ball of cabbage, but once you go through it, you can see, you can take one piece by piece, your cabbage, and in the end, there's no cabbage. So are made up stuff by adding different layers to it. But we take it seriously. What I see and what I hear is all you made up things, and you put together different things and create and edit something, and that is Sankara. We do this all the time. And we create something in our mind, and we fall in love with that thing. Or we hate that thing. That is what we do with Sankara. You form a picture, and you like that picture, and you call it that person, but actually you like the picture that you created in the mind by putting pieces together. Piece by piece, you put together, and you create a picture, the one that you see. That's an unfortunate thing that happened to our mind all the time. We see a woman or a man who think is good looking, and if you are a woman, you might fall in love with this man. If you are a man, you fall in love with this woman. But it is all mentally created form. So you put the pieces together, and that is how you come up with the idea that beautiful woman, good-looking man. So everything in the world is like that. And the last part, the time is over. Vijnana means consciousness. Normal translation is consciousness. But actual meaning of the word is you take things apart, separately. You see things separately. For example, your mind has the ability to separate the background from my form, my body. Your mind can separate my robe from my face. And right on the face, I have the glass of my eyeglass. Your mind can separate the eyeglass from the face. And anything and everything in the world that you see separately, and you see my eye, my eyeglasses, you see my head is shaven, you see my robe is brown, orange color, and you see something in the back. You separate all these things and say, this is Bhante. Or you always see something or perceive, all these things you separate. That's the mind's ability to separate. Sankara means putting together. Vijnana means separating ability of the mind. It's a activity of the mind. If you cannot separate, if your mind is not capable of separating, when vijnana is not there, you would never see me. You cannot, you see not even colors. You see only one blob, background, and myself and my glasses, all you could separate, and then it's only one thing. I don't know what you see. So our ability to separate, I see the computer is on the table right here, and I separate the table from the computer, and then this is the computer, and I separate all these things. And then altogether is the table at the moment of streaming of this Dhamma talk. So you see that our mind is very unreliable because it's constantly believing in things that is not really there. You made it up. Your mind made it up. So Buddha says, there's nothing to hold on to, nothing to be attached to, nothing to take seriously, nothing to fight for. All these things are like Mayupamancha Vijnana. Maya means mirage. This ability to separate things is like a magician's act. Mayupamancha Vijnana. Sanya is called Marichi Kupama Sanya. Marichi means mirage. Sanya is like a mirage. Vijnana is like magic show. It's all made up, not real. But if you really, there's a book written by Venerable Jnanananda called Magic of the Mind. That's the name of the book. He was my teacher when I was in the university. He was one of the greatest Dharma teacher in the recent time, and reality is one of his book to the audience. And if you hide behind the magician and look closely what he's doing, you can see all the tricks that he is doing because you are in the back of the stage. In the front of the stage, they became so amazed by seeing the tricks that he does. And how did he do it? How did he do it? That's how we do about life. All these things are like magic show. Vijnana is, okay, now I go through it. Pena pindupamang rupang. All forms are like a lump of forms. Vedana bubbulupama. All sensations bubble, sanya, all the perception is like a mirage that you see on a hot day. In the summertime, very hot day, if you are walking on the carpet road, you see like there's water in the front, but that's a marichi, mirage. Sankhara kadalupama, all the mental formations are like tree, banana tree, made of all little parts, layers. Mayupamancha vijnana, consciousness is like a magic show. So don't misled by any of those things that you think is yours. My Vedana, my sensation, my feeling, my sanya, my perception, my mental formation, sankhara, my vijnana, consciousness. That's how we do. So we hold on to them and we are ready to fight for it. We are ready to die for it. That is very unfortunate. And this is the message that Buddha wanted to give to his disciples at the Ganges River, at the Ayodhya, a place called Ayodhya. And please think of these things. Don't only listen to me and assess what the Buddha said by what I explained to you, but there's much more. When the Buddha spoke, there are a lot of meanings behind. And how do you see these meanings? By cultivating your wisdom and generating insight. You look at these things with your wisdom and your insight, and then you see there's nothing to hold on to, nothing to be attached to. So it is so easy to let go of these things. Without these forms, sensations, perceptions, and mental formations, and consciousness, nothing there in the world. There's nothing in the world besides these 5 things that I mentioned, that the Buddha mentioned. And there's nothing in the world, so we have no reason to be attached to this world. What we think is home, property, car, vehicle, my children, so and so on. There's nothing to be attached to because they're all like mirage, all like magic, magician's show, all like bubble. So therefore, think of these things and try not to be attached to your family and your property and what you think is yours. And that is the main message that Buddha wanted to give to you. As a result, your life will be so peaceful and so joyful and so calm. And finally, enlightenment is the result of seeing this so clearly. So what we want to do is to penetrate all these things clearly with our own wisdom and then enhance the quality of our lives, which make you an enlightened person. So that's the message for today. And now we discontinue the retreat for the morning. We will have the meditation at this time according to our schedule, but I have to attend something important right now. But because I am the only person at the temple now, after 2:15, Venerable Maya Kadora Sarada, who was one of our monks, you know him probably, will give the Dhamma talk at 2:15. And until then, we discontinue the retreat. But meanwhile, now in 5 minutes, you have to sit at least for 15-20 minutes of meditation by yourself. And during this time, you sit calmly and peacefully in one place and try to breathe, try to practice breathing or till your lunchtime arrives. So please be on your own and practice meditation until the lunchtime, and then you take your lunch, and after the lunch you read the Dhamma book, or you also can meditate. And 2:15 we will have the Dhamma talk, and 3:30 we will have the Dhamma discussion, and that is all here. Okay, thank you very much for participating, and now let us share the merit with all the devas and other beings after listening to the Dhamma. Let us share the merit with all our deceased family members and relatives and friends. Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhita hontu ñāteyo. Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhita hontu ñāteyo. Let us share the merit with all the devas who attended the Dhamma talk. Akasatta ca bummatta devānaga mahiddhika puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu loka sāsanang. Akasatta ca bummatta devānaga mahiddhika puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu desanang. Akasatta ca bummatta devānaga mahiddhika puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu no sada. May you all be happy and well, and see you all in the afternoon at 2:15 at the Dhamma talk. Thank you.